Okay, we're ready? Oh, wow, okay. Welcome everybody to the work session tonight. We're going to jump right into it. We're going to go with Pueblo Ready. And Ms. Meral Cooper, David Cockrell, and Charlotte Tournay. Come on down. Okay, what's going to happen is when they're talking, if they bring up something you really like, don't be clapping and stuff, please. Be courteous. That's what I'm asking you to pretend your mothers are here and be polite. Because we won't let them talk. Thank you. Press the little button there to turn the speakers on.
Maybe you can.
Hi, my name is Charlotte Tournay. I am the chair of the local group of the Sierra Club.
I'm David Cockrell, and you all know me, and I am on the executive committee for the Sierra Club Sangre de Cristo group and also involved with Pueblo's Energy Future. And I want to say at this point that while this presentation is clearly the Sierra Club Sangre de Cristo group's presentation about renewable energy, it's been developed in full collaboration with Pueblo's Energy Future and has that group's endorsement and full agreement with what we're going to share.
Hello, my name is Meral Cooper, and I'm a mechanical engineer and community organizer. Tonight, we're going to make an economic case for a sustainable future. Ask for your leadership, and then offer our partnership to make it happen. Would you please stand up or raise your hand if you're here today to show support? Awesome, thank you so much. A change is sweeping the nation. For economic reasons, energy efficiency, we know that renewable energy is the future. These changes are happening very quickly. There's an urgency to pay attention and act quickly to take bold climate action. David now will set the stage with updated economic data to show why 100% renewable energy is possible and is a better choice.
So next slide there. Thank you. At the April 2016 New Energy Summit, Bloomberg New Energy Finance Chair Michael Liebrecht's keynote speech provided some absolutely stunning economic data. He reported that the price of solar power has come down by a factor of 150 in a quarter century, and the deployment of solar has gone up 115,000 times. In its September 2016 publication, Revolution Now, the U.S. Department of Energy reported that since 2008, land-based wind power dropped in price 41%, rooftop solar was down 54%, and utility-scale solar was down in price 64%. And battery costs for backup storage have also dropped 73%. Some of these developments come on the heels of the Paris Climate Agreement, recently fully ratified by 55 countries. Worldwide, 533 cities are now reporting their greenhouse gas emissions, a 70% increase in reporting since the Paris Agreement. Today, 30% of these cities have greenhouse gas emissions reduction targets. And in North America, 56% of the cities reporting have greenhouse gas emissions reduction targets, many declaring zero emissions or 80% reduction by 2050 or earlier. These are cities that take on this responsibility. So this has got to be the craziest looking graph you've ever seen. The circles represent wind farms, and these are all the wind farms in America up through 2015. And the ones at the bottom of the chart, which are in purple, are the cheapest. And you can see from the key there that those have been built in the interior of the country, in our region of the country. In 2014, the average cost of power purchase agreements for new wind power in the U.S. was around 2.35 cents per kilowatt hour, the lowest it's ever been. In our region, the purple circles, the windiest parts of the Great Plains, these prices are as low as 2 cents per kilowatt hour. And the capacity factor of new wind power, and that means the percentage of time that it's actually generating electricity, which is always one of the concerns about renewable energy, is rising roughly 1% per year. The average capacity factor of new turbines installed in 2014 was 40%. The best were 50%. If this trend continues, the best sites will be reaching 60% capacity factors by 2024. This kind of progression removes the concerns about the need for fossil fuel backups to support renewable energy. Next slide. The orange curve in this chart is the falling price of utility scale solar, while the blue curve is the amount of solar that's being installed. This chart is actually about what's called the learning rate, which means that with every doubling of utility scale solar capacity in the U.S., this leads to roughly a 16% reduction in the cost of electricity from new solar installations. What this graph shows is that if solar electricity continues its current learning rate, by the time solar capacity triples to 600 gigawatts by about 2020, that's not far off, we should see an unsubsidized solar price of roughly 4.5 cents per kilowatt hour for very sunny places like right here in Pueblo. If this holds, solar will cost less than half what new coal or natural gas electricity costs, even without factoring in the cost of air pollution or carbon pollution emitted by the fossil fuel power plants. Next slide. Energy storage is also dropping in price. All of today's large format lithium-ion batteries combined can store less than 1 minute of the world's electricity demand. That's how far behind we are on storage. But as scale increases, that number will rise, and if current trends hold, the price of new batteries will drop. Next slide. So let's bring this home. The Black Hills, the next Black Hills PUC docket, after the current Phase 1 rate case, which you all have been involved in, is the company's electric resource plan. So this plan must be filed every 4 years. The planning horizon is 25 years. The current draft plan for Black Hills is in review now. And all three of the planning scenarios that they have put forward in their draft plan would add 3 new wind farms, or 150 megawatts of new wind by 2040, along with 1 to 3 gas turbines. We're hoping that you've been briefed on this plan, or will be, by your contract attorney, Mr. McEwen. And I bring this up at this point to point out, frankly, that Black Hills understands the energy economics that we just looked at in the previous slides. Next slide. So, look at these quotes from the electric resource plan from Black Hills. As was demonstrated in the company's Peakview Wind Project proceeding, wind resources can be added for no or very little net incremental cost. They also say the Peakview Wind Project, the one that's being commissioned right now, that modeling showed that the avoided costs associated with the conventional generation that was replaced by the wind resource were greater than the cost of the wind resource itself. The benefits are the avoided costs of fossil fuel expense, the purchased power that they don't have to buy, and the variable operation and maintenance production expense. The costs of the wind farms are the development costs, new transmission, and operation and maintenance. But fuel is free, and that's the big clincher. So the company modeled energy costs for an option using only the natural gas resources that it currently has in place, and compared that with options adding wind generation in 3 stages between now and 2040. Over the 2016 ERP planning period, which is 2016 to 2040, the modeling shows that the 60 megawatt wind resource to be added in 2019, the 30 megawatt wind resource to be added in 2026, and the 60 megawatt resource in 2038 would provide approximately $533 million of avoided cost savings from 2019 to 2040. The actual cost of developing the wind resources over this same time period, 2019 to 2040, is projected to be only $426.8 million. Thus, the addition of 150 megawatts of wind by 2038 would result in a net incremental savings of approximately $47.1 million over the 25-year 2016 ERP planning period. Electric rates are stabilized by renewables. And the reason why is because the amortized cost of the renewables over the life of the product is completely predictable, since there's no variable fuel cost. Natural gas prices, on the other hand, are volatile. They're predicted by the New York Mercantile Exchange for delivery at the Henry Hub in Louisiana. The natural gas price predictions for 2040 range from $7.52 per million BTU to $19.90 per million BTU. So these are the official projections that are used by the PUC and used by Black Hills in projecting their costs and the likely rates that Pueblo ratepayers will pay. As capacity factors for wind and solar go up and battery storage becomes cheaper and cheaper, the stability and value of renewables will continue to increase.
Cities, businesses, and communities are leading the way. Here in Pueblo, Solar Roast Coffee demonstrates how local business can lead the way with solar energy. South of Pueblo, Excel has a solar installation. However, all this energy goes to Denver. It's time for utility-scale solar in Pueblo. At the CSU Energy Transitions Forum in Fort Collins earlier this year, Colorado State University's Kurt Barth claimed that the installation of solar in the second half of 2016 will equal that of 2014 and 2015 combined. Your leadership is powerful, and if we create an economic vision for a renewable energy Pueblo, then Black Hills Energy will make the economic choice just like Excel Energy has. Next slide, please. Vestas is an amazing example of the work that we've already done that we should be celebrating and that we can learn from. The city provided $2.4 million to Vestas from the half-cent sales tax. They have created jobs and economic vitality. Vestas voiced that they came to Pueblo because of Pueblo Community College's submerged arc welding program. 5 generations of factory workers, ease of construction permits, operating permits, government funding, and due to the supportive Colorado Renewable Energy Standard. Let's continue this trend in bringing more renewable energy companies here.
Black Hills Energy, Black Hills Energy already meets the statutory requirement for 3% of sales in distributed generation, which is rooftop solar, with 1/2 of that in retail solar by 2020. This is in spite of Black Hills' unrealistically large initial solar rebate program, which led to depletion of the Renewable Energy Standard account and termination of the rebate program in less than 2 years. The rooftop solar industry in Pueblo was decimated during this time, and I'll bet you all remember this, by this termination, but has bounced back because of our solar potential and because of the falling price for solar panels and inverters. So you see here we have 1,000 installations, rooftop solar installations in Pueblo. Only 159 of those are on commercial structures because of the Black Hills rate structure. But still, that's an impressive amount of solar that we can celebrate right now.
Google Project Sunroof is just one example of how technology and innovation can make this road to 100% more doable and possible. This is actually a screenshot of the Project Sunroof free tool online. The yellow represents the usable sunlight for rooftop solar. Next slide, please. This very building that we're sitting in right now has over 2,000 hours of usable sunlight per year. Google Project Sunroof has reached out to us and is very excited to meet with city leaders like you. Next slide, please. So many cities have already committed to 100% renewable energy. Some have already reached their goal, like Aspen, Colorado, and Burlington, Vermont. Fortune 500 companies like Walmart and Starbucks have also committed and are taking action now to make that a reality. Next slide. Here's a map highlighting some of those cities. Can you imagine Pueblo as a part of this map and as a pioneer for renewable energy? These cities, Charlotte, Texas, and East Hampton, New York, have committed to 100% renewable energy. And their quotes are pretty striking. Larry Cantwell of East Hampton said, they're doing this for keeping more money in the local economy and creating jobs here. And in Georgetown, Texas, which is in the heart of oil country, the interim city manager said, we didn't do this to save the world. We did it to get a competitive rate and reduce the risk for our consumers. People in Pueblo are truly ready for 100% renewable energy. We just had a positive rally for 100 right out front, and we have people honking left and right. We are so excited to tell you that we have already hosted over 10 events with over 250 participants, and over 500 supporters and volunteers have joined us, and this is growing weekly. A Ready for 100 outreach team volunteer, Heather Mayo, put it this way. We are facing extreme weather, fires, and drought. We can't leave it in the quagmire that we are in. We've got to take action now. This is a picture from a Denver Clean Energy event that Council Member Larry Atencio spoke at on behalf of Pueblo. We've already got great support from him, and also Ann Saddleman of Posada spoke regarding the unique challenges that we face here in Pueblo. I can assure you, citizens in Denver and northern Colorado are watching Pueblo for our next moves as we find ways to make renewable energy more equitable and accessible for people for all walks of life. We also hosted a Puebloans for Clean Energy neighborhood event in Larry Atencio's District 2. And we are looking to host these neighborhood events in the rest of the districts that you represent. Next slide. We need to act quickly to save this planet for the sake of our health, our children and grandchildren, and even our economic well-being. We must make protecting our planet our top priority. This is a photo of Dr. Kelly Gelhoff and her kids who are in the audience tonight. And she tells me the reason she's part of this movement is to create a livable world for them. We must make this our priority, and the beautiful thing is that it's now the economic thing to do as well.
So we are recommending a rebranding of Pueblo around renewable energy. Let's continue Pueblo's manufacturing heritage. Let's attract solar companies just as we did with wind. Let's look into manufacturing specialized products for renewables. Let's research and develop other forms of renewable energy. And let's develop energy efficiency products and really incentivize motorization. Next slide. So help us celebrate Pueblo's renewable energy achievements so far. We can become a solar-friendly community and then promote that we are. Join us in leading our community toward greater energy efficiency. We could use the city's LED streetlights program as a model. Embrace the Pueblo County Sustainability Plan and also enforce the 2015 building codes. We should all recognize that due to these national trends and opportunities, it is very likely that the 100% renewable energy is the future for Pueblo. And that future is not so very far away. So we ask you to declare a vision for 100% renewable energy for Pueblo's future. We want to work with you. So we will be back to continue this partnership. Thank you for this time, your time this evening.
Okay, thank you all. Thank you very much. We're on a tight schedule, and we've got somebody else in the executive session up, so. Anybody mind if we move on, or anybody have any other?
We're happy to entertain questions.
Yeah.
I'd like to just say something.
Okay, we're trying to scan schedule. Go ahead. Sure, please.
Well, I just, in our own household, we're having to cut back on a lot of things. I have a son that plays hockey, and we're trying to figure out how to afford that and how to keep paying these high energy rates in Pueblo. And so we're looking at, being misers and things like going to LED lights and really cutting back on usage. Even appliances, things like electric dryers. I was looking at our household of what uses the most electricity in our house and how can we change things so that we're not drawing as much electric power. And so as we invest in new appliances and replace old ones, we're looking at things like the gas dryer as an option to something that doesn't use electricity. And I realize it's just another form of energy, but for us it's about cost and what's affordable in our community. But we've been looking at solar, and I started looking at solar for my RV because I want to go out and camp in the desert and be able to be not hooked up to things. And so I'm looking at how that might apply to my house and be able to expand that project on a bigger scale. And so I have seen that the prices on solar panels and inverters and that technology has dropped substantially since I was looking about a year ago in that same for those same products. So it's exciting. I think there are some big changes underway. The battery thing is I think that's the huge thing, is how do we store. And so that's my question for you, is to be able to go 100% since the sun's only up during the day. How do you offset that, I guess, would be my question. And until the battery storage technologies come into full-scale production technology, we are in a good position because of our natural gas combined cycle turbines at PAGs. And so those can be viewed as an advantage, not as a disadvantage. So that becomes the backup plan. And those things can be turned up or down, whereas a coal plant cannot. It takes 12 hours to fire up a coal plant and get it under production, so you don't shut those things down. The gas plant is a good backup plan. And I also want to, just one last thing, Chris, many cities have their own incentive programs for high-efficiency appliances. And if you would like, we can help propose some ideas for how the city could be involved, probably at no cost, to partner with Black Hills to enhance the incentive programs to get people to switch to high-efficiency appliances.
Well, I think that would be great, because that's what I look at, is how do I get the most efficient. Everything from LED bulbs, so we're trying to swap out everything. And really looking at everything that draws current in our house and what it's using and what can we do better. And so I think if we did that as an entire city, I think it would make an impact as far as what we're drawing. And I think it's not just something to do, it's environmentally sound, but it's, we have a low-income community and this affects everybody. So thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate your message.
Thanks for that.
David, did he volunteer to work on that?
Yes.
We need a question and we're in a statement, Larry. We're going to end here in 2 minutes.
I'll be real quick. I don't have a statement. I am really proud that I've joined this group to 100%. And what I think is, we as a council should join all those other cities out there that have declared that they will be 100% renewable by 2050. If we could do that, take us far into the future, basically. My thinking is, fossil fuels are a finite resource. They'll be gone one day. We have to prepare for the future. And if council is amenable, I think we should declare that Pueblo be a 100% renewable energy city, just like those other cities.
Last question, Raymond.
Actually, isn't gas cheap as it's ever been?
It is. It is. And wind is still cheaper. And that's the amazing thing, is that the cost of wind, utility scale wind, has dropped so precipitously that it is now actually cheaper than gas. Not in every region of the country, but it is in this region.
Thank you.
I'm going to just make one last comment. There's a lot of unintended consequences that I've talked to this young lady about with all this, and that is high-paying jobs in mining and railroads and other things else. And I don't want to get into debate, okay, this is the end of it. But at some point in time, you have to look back and see what is the cost, the real cost. We lower our electric rates, that's great, but if we put a lot of people out of work that were making really good salaries and pensions and benefits, I don't know where you go with that. Thank you all for being here. We're going to be polite to the health department and bring them up now.
And we can create clean energy jobs that don't make people sick to replace